What's going on, guys? Hey, this is a response video. Now, this ain't saying that I disagree with everything Thunder said or I agree with everything Torp said, but I will say this. The icing out thing, it's a great ideal. It really is. But it just doesn't work on YouTube, and I'll tell you why. Here's proof. Now, I've known about Eli, right? And Eli's a lolcow. He really is. So is Reese. To a point, so is Cherry. But just look at Eli. Thing about Eli is people have been trying to ice him out for how long? And they'll do it like every 6 months or so. It'll be like, hey, we're going to ice them out. The problem with it is it doesn't work though, and the reason it is nobody sticks together, and then it becomes one of those things like people are lying to each other. Like you'll see like somebody will go to a stream and they're trying not to talk about the stuff they've been talking about the entire rest of the year, but then it's really awkward because if people in the chat mention it, people's like, no, 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 we ain't talking about him. We ain't talking about him. And what that does, it makes it awkward for the people chatting because, of course, they've seen the other side. And most of the other people has seen what the other person said too. That's like Eli. Even when people was trying to ask him out, his numbers didn't drop. They were still right up there where they're at because some of the people that said they were asking him out, they were asking him out. The other people, they were saying it, but they just wasn't doing it. It's like, here's another prime example. Now, Cherry's gone. And if Cherry ever came back and was a halfway decent person, that'd be one thing. But, once somebody shows you who they are that many times, I mean, anybody can have a bad day every now and then, but once somebody keeps coming back and doing the same thing over and over again, you kind of see who they are, right? But see, Cherry, how many times has Cherry been on the ropes and he's let off the hook because people stop talking about him? So what he does is he stays gone a little while. He comes back, starts talking about like old times and the good old days, like him and Bobby under the blanket. Oh, just so you guys know, if you ever visit Louisiana, it's BYOB. It's not bring your own beer, it's bring your own blanket. And Bobby, I got one. I'll let you spoon me if I can fork you. Think it over. But what I'm saying is, Cherry gets his ass back in there. He comes back. He's being cool for a little while. Then he goes back to his old ways. Now, the people icing him out are still trying to do it. Problem with it is, like newer people that or people that don't remember a lot that was going on, they're seeing that Cherry that's just now coming back. So he gets in, gets more people. Just think about that. When he came back that one time, we tried for 2 weeks. We didn't mention them. We almost got buried. I mean, people was coming over and asking us, like on our channels, on like the lounge or anywhere we were at, on my comments, people was asking about it. We wouldn't talk about it. We're like, ah, we're not talking about this. But that didn't matter because they were still talking about it. They were still watching what they said every day, and we wasn't responding. So in essence, like new people or people, like I said, that really didn't know what went on, like the last time the guy had left, it gives them an opening to come back in. Then you got to start all over again. You got to start from fresh and go where you could have just, I ain't saying keep talking about it, but you could have just, kept the memory alive. You know what I mean? Or like when you first seen him come back, be like, yeah, if he's good this time, but this and that. Because if take, Eli again, for instance, every time someone tries to ask him out, that's how people like, it's Tia. Tia. Tammy is awesome. Yeah, Tia. If like all the time people was calling out his bullshit, people like Tia wouldn't, end up being such a supporter. Now you're going to have dumbasses that still support him because they can't get around, normal people, so they hang around people like Eli. But if when people find him, if they, hear him talking about somebody and they check out that channel, or they see somebody in the chat mention the channel, and they see both sides of the story, then they can make their own decision. They can, not just listen to either side. They can go back and show what the people, like just like with Eli, everybody that goes in there, people try to, send them stuff and show them what's going on because, most low cows are, they don't cause a lot of real damage, right? Now, Eli, give him the chance. We know what he would do. He's tried to take advantage of certain people before, and if left unchecked, he would do it. Cherry, we know what he does. He'll dox you, he will threaten to dox, all that shit. He starts all kinds of shit. Again, the guy came back and literally said, I'm gonna burn down the community and sat back and laugh. But again, we didn't bring it up. So you take like a Reese. See, Reese having today had what 42 in her icing. Anyway, the point of that is he had three chatters that I see. Now he might have had four or five through the whole thing to chat, but when I was there, he had 42 people and three chatters. So that means 39 people was in there and either just watching them, hate watching them, or whatever. But if you notice, it's like people because people saying, "Oh, ice them out, ice them out." Hell, people's embarrassed to say they watched them. They don't want to be like, "Oh, why are you watching them?" But they watched them because even with the Eli stuff, think about when they asked him out. You'll talk about him behind the scenes. But if you notice, even people behind the scenes, they know current shit's going on. Now it's not just the rebroadcast because even the rebroadcast thing, his numbers and they might dip for a day or two, but then he would always get them right back up there because people on a lot on a restream, it's either if you got like a group of hell 10 or more on YouTube, but especially 30, 40, 50, 60 people, there's going to be a couple that's going to play both sides. I mean, think about it. Somehow he always finds like the restreams. He eventually finds them. There's got to be somebody telling him. So he either strikes them or the person just gets tired of doing it. Or when someone's watching a restream, they're there to like laugh at the locale on the screen. But the problem of it is if somebody's on panel and they're talking, you miss a lot of. So what a lot of people do and they don't admit, they watch the restream, but they also on another device or a different tab they open Eli. They watch him. Same thing with Reese. It's hard, like Tort made this point. It's a good point. Now I get exactly what Thunder's saying, and in essence, it's a great idea. I mean, really, it's if people would do it, it's great. But that's the problem; they're not going to do it. Today's proof, yesterday's proof. The more you talk about something, and it's not just us. It doesn't matter if like you would call content creators talked about it. If anybody, if he's talking about us, people's going to go watch it and want to know how we respond. If we don't respond, it doesn't matter. They're still going to listen to it. And the sad part is, if we're not responding, they can turn the narrative because we're not, responding to anything. So what I'm saying is, again, icing out, the theory is great, but on YouTube, it doesn't work. And in a lot of things, it doesn't work. You'd have to have 100% compliance, or at least what 80 or 90, because like I said, all it takes is someone to say like, "Hey, let's ice Reese out," right? Then when people come in the chat to wherever you're at, like say you're on the lounge and they come in the chat and someone says like, "Oh no, we ain't talking about it here. Don't mention that name. Don't mention this name." Problem of it is they'll stop doing that, but they're still watching Reese. But now they kind of feel awkward when they're in your chat because they can't talk about the elephant in the room, right? Or the pug in the bed. But some people want to do it because of the view. It's like I don't want to give them the view, like Torque. See, I even think the view thing. The more you think about it, I mean, 42 views on an hour live. Even if he held 42 the whole time, what's he making? 35 cents. I mean, it's worth 35 cents to listen to his dumbass. Speaking of Reese, of course. But I get the sentiment. He sees the views. He's like, "Oh, I'm getting popular," so he does more and more shit. That's one way to think about it. But another way to think about it, just like Jig again made a good point. If people keep doing shit to you and you never do it back or nothing back happens to them, they have no reason to stop fucking you over because they're getting away with it. If you don't fuck back, don't worry, Bobby. I'm not talking about you here. We'll get to that later. But if you don't fuck back, you get ran over. I mean, you're done. You look like either the people who know you, they might know that what you're doing, but people who's newer or maybe just comes around every now and then, they don't know what to believe because if someone's saying a bunch of bullshit about you and you don't respond to it, it kind of looks like it's true. Even if you say you don't watch it, hardly anybody believes that. Because again, on the Eli thing, since I have, what has it been, 2 or 3 years, probably getting close to 3 years now, I've watched him walk in circles. But I know of at least 3 times. I mean, even the biggest channel that rebroadcasted him, right? Jamie, he was done. I know of twice that he said no more. And he would even like tell people not to talk about him. No, 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 no. And people wouldn't. But then, like I said, if he don't have something else to talk about, then his numbers drop. Now I know people saying it's not all about the numbers, but again, it is YouTube. When you make shit, you want people to see it. Or if you're, because if not, you could do a phone call. But eventually, they went right back to Eli because he is such a big fucking lolcow. It's hard not to talk about him. Same with Reese. People's not watching Reese to be like, "Oh, this guy's a fucking news." They're watching him because he's a fucking lolcow and a very malicious one. Reese is in the center of Cherry and Eli. He's right in the middle. Eli, he does stupid shit. He does. I mean, he does very malicious shit too behind the scenes, and he's said terrible shit. And again, like I said, people can have a bad day, but It wasn't with Eli. Eli literally has had those days a lot of times. You see the real person he is. He just seen the backlash he got from that when he said all the racist shit. Said the stuff he did about Jenny. Like that one, I think it was Tammy put that up the other day. Him talking about Jenny, that's bullshit. I mean, anybody that would do that, you know, right then, that's a terrible person, right? But left unchecked, you know, nobody watching him. He's doing it. He's gathering an audience. That's my point. He's going to keep doing it. Now, when he got called out for all that shit, he quit it for a long time. He kept apologizing, not because he was sorry, because he knew how it looked. So again, icing people out in theory seems like a great idea, but on YouTube, it's just not going to work. Because again, I would say 90% of the people are over there watching it. I mean, hell, we know they are. The only way to really stop that is like to do a restream and nobody talks so people can hear it. But even then, it's just, you know, one or two times the person finds out about the thing, or the person doing the restream just they're busy that day. He's still going to get views, right? And think about it. There was 42 people that I seen, maybe even more than that. I know the other day he said it was yesterday or day before. He said there's 733 people. No, there wasn't, Reese. What the fuck? It was a live, and you thought there was 733 people watching you. Well, again, you're a locale, so of course you did. But people are going to watch just to hear what they say. And if you don't respond, again, it kind of makes it look like maybe people, like I said, people that know you, they know what you're doing. You're not, you know, but you're trying to stay out of the bullshit. But even at a certain point, even they're like, damn, because again, they're coming to these. If you go to a channel, right, and every day for a few months you're talking about somebody, you're saying shit, then all of a sudden you decide like, hey, no more, I'm icing them out. Then you expect everybody in your chat not to mention that name, don't talk about them, don't say this. It makes it awkward. It makes it very weird on people because they're so used to saying that. And if it was like I said, if 100% of people did it, it would be a great idea. But on YouTube, it's not going to work because everybody that says they're not watching it, like I said, 90% are. I mean, people hear me say this. I guarantee you there's people, either be Eli, Cherry, Reese, whoever, that sit there and said, like, yeah, I'm not watching it, I'm done. But you know, behind the scenes, I mean, it's so bad that people are kind of embarrassed. They'll even make up things like Discord. They'll be like, oh, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it. I seen it on Discord, or I seen it this way or that way. Which, I mean, a lot of shit, you know, sometimes stuff does get sent to you on Discord because there's people that talk shit so much on so many streams, there's not enough time to watch them. So thank God different people watch different streams and you can see that kind of shit. But you know, a lot of people like Roy. Listen, I mean, Roy never admits to seeing anything, but he knows everything that's going on. It's not somebody in this Discord. I mean, I'm sure there's people that does tell him certain things, but you think if someone's talking about him and he's not watching it, I mean, if somebody talks about you personally and you hear about it, of course you're going to be curious. Now, there is times that I know, like I'll get tagged in something and I'll see it's kind of, you know, could be about something about me. And I don't watch it because either I'm busy at that time and I just forget about it and go on. But if a lot of people start talking about it, of course you're going to be like, what the fuck? I want to see this. So you can respond to it. So again, I'm kind of in the middle of Torp and Thunder on this one. Probably leaning toward Torp because, I mean, again, if you ask somebody out, it creates a possibility for them to come right back in. Then you got to start all over. Again, we've seen it with Cherry. How many times? Had him on the ropes. He's gone. He comes back. We don't talk about him. Next thing you know, he fucking. Because you always got people like Hector. You're going to have people that he's seen the value of Cherry in the numbers. Just like Reese sees the value of, he thinks Tammy and them on these numbers. He doesn't realize, just like Hector don't, that it's not helping his channel. It's hurting it. Because again, Reese, there was 42 people there, 3 chatters. You were saying terrible shit about women and stuff. Do you think they were there to cheer for you? Nah, dude, they're there clipping the fuck out of that. And watch, you'll see what I'm saying. Same thing with Cherry. Hector let him up there. Hector seen the numbers. He's seen like Cherry's like, oh, I'm gonna help you get monetized. Then he praises Cherry. Cherry saying now it's his channel. He does what he wants to and all this shit. But now Hector's gone. I mean, he got Hector monetized. Then cost him his channel. I mean, Hector is so embarrassed to come back because of the shit he said, the shit Cherry said. Hector is very. It's easy to fucking lead him. And that's not even saying nothing bad about Hector. I mean, some people are like that. Eric, he's one of those. He will latch on to anybody that's kind of showing him attention, and he'll go. Hector thought that that could help him. And for a few weeks, he did. He's, again, we wasn't saying nothing. So they were up on panels laughing their ass off about us, talking about us. And Hector seen the numbers. But once we started talking back and, proving shit, you got very few of them left. I mean, look who you got over there now. I don't even know where the fuck they go at nighttime now. I mean, unless fucking Necro's up. Other than that, they ain't got nothing. So Reese, he's sitting in his car at McDonald's parking lot trying to get free Wi-Fi to come on. But other than that, that's all they got. So if people just keep calling out the bullshit, you might think, well, it just continues on. It's a vicious circle. No. What it is, at some point in time, it'll be just like with Cherry. He gets there and he gets so. I mean, after enough time, he does enough where people just fucking, they bury his ass with truth. Then he like makes some kind of fake apology and slithers away. But if you let him back and he starts that shit from the start, and he has a weak, few week head start, it's hard to get back to where you were. You got to start all the way over, try to turn everything around again, or you get shit like this that happened. Think about it. You got like Roy playing the lounge. He's got Cherry and Reese up there laughing, fucking with Flex. Roy does a stream, 3 hours, doing nothing but talk about us. Nothing but talk about us. Then when Flex just clips 25 minutes of it and puts a little bit, they strike him. But see, no one strike, they don't strike Roy back. They don't strike Reese back. Again, Reese was playing the lounge the other night. Then when Heidi tried to play his, and I have no idea if he tried to strike her. I mean, again, there's no way he would win that. That's fair use. I mean, she was playing audio. There was, she was talking. The screen was in the background. Very, very, a minute maybe you've seen of it total of the whole thing because she was like moving the shit around. But other than that, she was, there was commentary. Everything was fine. But it wouldn't stop him from trying it though, because if he can try it and people don't fight the strike back, it gets it. Like I said, Flex could have easily won against, I guarantee against Roy. But other than that, but on Roy, I guess I don't know why he didn't fight that one. But on the Reese one, we know why he didn't fight it. He didn't want him to have his address. Jesus Christ! Hang on. Here's them kids. Anyway, I got this cat. I'll be back. Actually, y'all have a good one.